I love my home where I was born. I will never leave it. This is my home, my only home, and it is better that I die on it.
Evocative words from the Marshall Islands Republic's national anthem. They were sung tearfully by the women of Rongelap Atoll the day before they bade farewell to their ancestral home in the Pacific, a tragic nuclear exodus. The most irradiated humans outside of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the people of Rongelap were helped by the crew of the peace ship Rainbow Warrior to move to a safer island in May 1985. The Rongelap story goes back more than 3 decades to when the Pentagon transformed the northern Marshall Islands into a nuclear wasteland with 66 atmospheric blasts between 1946 and 1958. The tally included the 15-megaton thermonuclear bomb test, codenamed Bravo, at Bikini Atoll on the 1st of March 1954. It was the largest nuclear explosion ever carried out by the United States. While the Bikinians and the Enewetak Islanders had been evacuated to safe atolls, the Rongelap people were snowed with radioactive fallout and have suffered an agonizing legacy of health problems ever since.
Medical reports show that in the 4 years after exposure, miscarriages and stillbirths doubled among Rongelap women. 77% of all Rongelapese under 10 at the time of exposure have developed thyroid tumors which needed surgery. Growth retardation is common among boys and girls, and all those aged under 15 when contaminated face a premature death from cancer. United States authorities have claimed the contamination was because of an accidental shift in the wind direction. But a Defense Nuclear Agency document has revealed officials knew at least 6 hours before the test the wind would carry the fallout onto Rongelap. The islanders were not evacuated until 3 days after the blast. For more than 3 years, the Rongelap people asked the United States government to help them leave the atoll and resettle, but the islanders were ignored.
The Rongelap people turned to the environmental group Greenpeace for help. The Rainbow Warrior, on a Pacific peace voyage, left Majuro for Rongelap in early May 1985. It anchored in the lagoon at Rongelap, a contrast to one of the islanders' 5 outrigger canoes on the beach. A boom-boom ferried the crew ashore. Portuguese-born photographer Fernando Pereira was among the first to go. "We love our kids," says the little pennant. Rongelap women prepared to welcome the crew with leis, songs and fresh coconuts. John Anjan, mayor of Rongelap at the time of the Bravo fallout, sits with a nephew. Anjan is now aged 64. 32 years ago, he cradled his 1-year-old son Leikoj in his arms as radioactive particles dusted them from the sky. Apparently healthy until 1968, Leikoj then showed the first signs of thyroid abnormality. By 1972, he had died from myelogenous leukemia, the first radiation-linked death on the atoll. Anjan's parting gesture before leaving Rongelap was to polish the plaque on his son's headstone. The Rongelap People's Church. It is the only building left completely intact on the atoll, a symbol of the day the islanders may be able to return. At first, the crew thought they were just transporting the islanders and their personal possessions. But as the houses were rapidly dismantled, it became clear most of the village was going as well. Some of the 74 pupils at Rongelap Elementary School sat dejectedly with their teacher, Eisen Tima, beside the debris from one of their 2 classrooms. The Rongelap clergyman's family stacked their mats and other belongings outside their house, ready to leave. The people began piling their mats and belongings on the beach, ready to load onto the Rainbow Warrior. Senator Anjan, the representative in the Marshall Islands Parliament. Although the islanders decided by consensus to leave Rongelap, the weight of decision-making fell on him. The boom booms were loaded with plywood walls and corrugated aluminium stripped from the houses to ferry out to the Rainbow Warrior. After a day of stacking building materials, generators and other goods, more than 80 islanders went on board with their belongings. Pereira and other crew members helped the islanders board. Many of the Rongelap people had never left the atoll in their lives.
The legacy of Bravo is revealed by this child, one of several deformed children taken on board. Ellen Boaz, who was aged 24 at the time of being contaminated by the fallout. On her throat are scars left from thyroid tumor surgery. Almost 80% of the exposed population have needed similar surgery. Radiation-linked cataracts are also common. Miscarriages, stillbirths, and deformed babies have increased sharply. For easier monitoring by United States scientists, exposed islanders carry a red identity card, while the unexposed control group have green. Twice a year, the islanders are checked and told little about their health. They claim they are being used as guinea pigs for United States radiation research. Tightly packed on the foredeck of the Rainbow Warrior, a large makeshift tarpaulin tent was hitched to the mizzen mast on the boat deck to make the 14-hour overnight voyage to Majato Island more comfortable. Jean Anjan was among the first to leave the atoll, the memory of the death of his son still painfully vivid. On the fourth and last voyage to Majato Island, there were few people on board. Most of the islanders had been taken in the earlier trips. 114 people were on board the Warrior for the most crowded voyage. Floating corrugated aluminium roofs ashore at Majato, on the northwestern tip of the vast Kwajalein Atoll. The lagoon of the islet was so shallow that the Warrior had to anchor 3 kilometers offshore. Old skills were revived as new homes were built on the island. Jaban Rekland and other Rongelap Islanders began shaping the emerging makeshift village. The water supply was reasonable, but it will take years before the islanders can grow new plantations and become self-supporting again. In the meantime, amid the chaos, dumped United States aid food of white sugar, coffee, tea, canned fruit and tinned fish has filled a gap, although the months late arrival of the government-fueled ship almost forced the islanders to starve.
After the exodus, the Rainbow Warrior left the Marshall Islands and made goodwill visits to Kiribati, Vanuatu and New Zealand, where it was warmly welcomed. The Prime Minister of Vanuatu, Father Walter Lini, warned the crew their planned protest voyage to Mururoa was dangerous. On the night of 10th of July 1985, just 3 days after being welcomed to Auckland, the Warrior was sunk by 2 bomb blasts and Pereira was killed. Charles Reda, a representative of the Vanuatu people and an official in the Prime Minister's office, shared a cabin with Pereira, but luckily he was ashore when the ship sank. Navy workers battled to refloat the Warrior by pumping out the seawater and hitching airbags to the hull. The ship was finally moved to the Devonport Naval Base dry dock 6 weeks after the bombing. Police sifted bomb debris on board, looking for evidence.
The Rainbow Warrior was due to go to Rarotonga in the Cook Islands before protesting off Aroha Atoll, and then came the bombing. While the United States has created a lingering health legacy from its nuclear testing 3 decades ago, France continues to test in the South Pacific today. Atmospheric tests dusted fallout over Mangareva and other atolls downwind of Aroha. As the people of Rongelap struggle with their illnesses and create a new life with little more than hope, they wonder when will the nuclear powers begin to care about the islanders and end their bombs.
No more bombs, no